Thank you for the introduction. First of all, thank you so much for the Global DH Symposium for providing our very, very early in the process project to share this. Yeah. So, well, I'm Zhihui. I'm an undergrad student at the Department of History and Department of Computational Media at Duke. My collaborator is Matthew Hayes. He's the librarian of Japanese Studies and Asian American Studies at Duke University Libraries. We started this project back in fall of 2024, so fairly recent. I should start this first. Okay. Okay, so we'll start from a broad topic. We're looking at Asian American short stories published in American literary journals between 1974 and 2024. And we'll be looking at them at scale. So there are three concepts here that we'll be looking at. First is short stories in general. Short stories themselves have not been really focused on in literary studies. We usually look at novels, we usually look at poetry, but not so much on short stories. And definitely not so much on looking at short stories at scale. We usually look at them, we look at a case study, we look at a Kafka case study, we look at a Calvino case study, but not at scale. So, and we have 4 planned deliverables. Some of them are already in progress. Some of them are still just thoughts we have in our minds. First is a database. We're collaborating with, we'll get to that in a bit. But it'll be a public database for other writers, instructors, or professors to semantically search for short stories, Asian American short stories that they wish to share or they wish to use if they're artists to look at what their colleagues are looking at. Second is a non-generative language analysis tool. It used to be non-generative language models, but we changed that to language analysis tools. We'll get to that in a bit, why. Third is a working copyright framework, because as we noticed, 1974 and 2024, they are in copyright protection range, so we'll be dealing with that, which is one thing that we believe are affecting digital humanists like us a lot, is how do we deal with work that are in copyright protection? How do we continue the scholarship while protecting and respecting artists and writers' right to their intellectual creation? And lastly, we hope to use this project to develop pedagogical and technical training for students, for other students on the team, as well as whoever want to be a part. I can't press my computer, it should be on the side. So some intentions went over that part. Part of our inspiration came from the Macbeth project in 2022, created in University of Leiden. They developed a domain-specific language model trained on early modern English grammar and syntax. We basically try to do that for Asian American short stories. There are a lot of industry, generic use language models out there right now. Not so much, not a lot of language models or language analysis toolkits that look at specific genres. For our team specifically, we have 3 branches operated by different students. We'll get to that in a bit. So first we have statistics branch, which looks at which conducts statistical analysis, including language model construction or more traditional natural language processing tools. Second branch is the database, which they'll be mostly building the public interface. Or they are already doing that. But they are building the public interface to showcase those short stories. And lastly, the theory part is they'll combine the study of Asian American history, and then looking at the copyright issues that we'll get into. So when we built this team, it was not just supposed to be a research team, it was also supposed to be a training team. So to provide technical and pedagogical training for whoever is involved, we have faculty, staff, and graduate and undergraduate students on the team. We also have collaborators across academic departments and non-academic departments, such as our university IT department, also university library and literary journals around the country. So far, some of our work so far, we're working with the university copyright librarian to look at the existing court cases with fair use text fair use in both language model development and university research projects, because we're dealing with two different legal debates here. And also OCR pipelines, we're fortunate that since our work is pretty modern, we don't have to deal with messy OCR. And lastly, working with engineers to develop what is we've gone through all those legal discussions on copyright, but what is happening on the technical side of how do we use good practices in computer science and software development to protect the works of our authors. So these are 30 journals that we selected in our first round of analysis. We have journals that have been publishing since 1892. We also have journals that have been launched like 5 years ago. So across very different literary scopes. So for our database will not contain, thank you, our database will not contain the actual content of the stories per copyright, but also we are deliberately not including the content so that we can create problems and questions for our natural language analysis on how do we create semantic descriptions for stories. As well as here, there we have traditional literary data, which shows title, author, year, journal. That's about it. It creates a very discrete data points for each of the stories. What we try to do with our statistics branch is all of those are in neon green, with summaries, themes, named entity recognition, and categories, so that users will be able to conduct semantic search on our stories and make these discrete data points connected. So this is usually what we see with our traditional literary data. We have title, journal, title, author, year. That's about it. So we hope to not deal with that. Thank you. This last slide, I promise. So for this summer, we'll develop the workflows for those three elements, build our interface with our collaborators at our IT office. Very important, conduct our copyright research. And then from student feedback over the summer, how do we refine pedagogical and technical training like handbook that we try to develop. That's it. Thank you.